Understudies are assembled in the principal lobby. Furthermore, requested to strip down however, before we see what occurs next the story takes us back a few hours to see each of these kids preparing to begin school. We are then acquainted with a young lady named Jonna, who is a well-known vocalist and a web-based entertainment star. Her dad is a notable music maker and her mom is her administrator, and both are very glad for Janna's prosperity at such a youthful progress in years. However, John tries to be more than a pop sensation and refine her melodic abilities to turn into a lead performer sometime in the future. To accomplish this, she has chosen to join Tip Top Way School. Her mom is likewise an ex-understudy of Hughes and doesn't need Jonna to pass on her effective vocation to go to class. However, Janna is determined. In the following scene we see a high schooler named Luca Colucci, who is the child of a well-off Argentine money manager. He has upset relations with his dad, who likes that Luca sign up for the business program at Hughes instead of the melodic greatness program. Likewise, his dad is a conspicuous Hughes board part who makes key decisions for different individuals. Following that we meet Esteban, who lives with his bereft dad and has gotten a grant to learn at Hughes. He does not come from a prosperous foundation and has turned down a situation as a musician at a lofty studio to join in this school as Esteban says goodbye to his dad. Our consideration movements to Dixon, a young man from Colombia. He has moreover signed up for Hughes to seek after his fantasy of turning into a popular rapper. His mom battles to keep down tears for her child leaving, yet Dixon consoles her a short time later. We're acquainted with another novice, Andy, who is transparently offending her mother's new beau. And open in conclusion, we meet a young lady named Maria, who is a ardent Christian from California. Incidentally, she's misled her guardians about Hughes. She's educated them that she signed up for a strict music center in Mexico City rather. As the newbies show up, a senior Brazilian understudy named Amelia invites them. She takes them on a visit through the school and goes over the principles and guidelines with them. During the school visit they visit an amphitheater where Jonna seizes the valuable chance to play piano. Esteban is really intrigued by her abilities and praises her. The two then present themselves and immediately become companions. However, not long after, Janna's beau Seabass shows up and the couple is eager to see each other. It would appear Seabass is the commander of the melodic gathering and is likewise the child of the city hall leader. A while later the new understudies are appointed to their individual rooms. Janna, Maria, and Andy are set together in one room while Esteban, Dixon, and Luca are relegated to another. Anyway, Luca ends up being incensed as he accepts he's qualified for the honor of having a space to himself. Following that, the standard illuminates the understudies about the forthcoming skirmish of the band's rivalry. This challenge offers a huge open door as the triumphant band will get a proposal from a creation organization. Later, Jonna approaches Luca and it turns out that they've known one another since youth. Anyway, Luca is annoyed with her. Also, won't converse with her. This is expected to an occurrence at his auntie's wedding, where Jonna attempted to get him out of the storage room before his family. Jonna apologizes for the occurrence. However, Luca thinks it isn't sufficient and leaves. During lunch, Maria searches for a spot to sit and Esteban waves her over to go along with him. They strike up a discussion, getting to know one another. What's more, Maria rapidly begins to create a pulverize on him in a little, while Seabass goes to Jonna's room, yet her flatmates say she's not around while Esteban rehearses piano. Jonna notification and praises his execution. She then sits down close to him and the two begin to be at ease while playing piano. All of a sudden Seabass shows up looking for Jonna, and he flies off the handle. Seeing them so close and agreeable. Soon thereafter, while the understudies are snoozing, a gathering of veiled individuals shows up. Furthermore, powerfully pulls them from their rooms. Turns out they're important for the initiation, and they urge these new understudies to flaunt their ability to demonstrate that they really have a place here. They then power the understudies to wear their regalia and act in the practice corridor. Jonna is somewhat apprehensive, yet Esteban gives her certainty, and she starts to sing very well, and the gathering performs magnificently. Anyway, minutes after, one of the veiled men inadvertently pushes over some candles, causing a fire. Before long, the fire begins to quickly spread all through the school, so instructors rush in directing the understudies out of the peril zone. Following the occurrence, Jonna also her gathering end up in a difficult situation for the disorder that resulted, in spite of the fact that they made sense of that. Veiled individuals drive them out of their rooms at 12 p.m. The chief will not trust their story. She reports that until they tell the truth about what happened, not a solitary one of them will be permitted to take part in the skirmish of the groups. Confronted with no other decision, Jonna assumes the fault upon herself, expressing that it was her plan to escape and have a good time. Hearing this, the chief illuminates them that the matter will be introduced to the board during the gathering planned for Thursday, and her destiny will be chosen then. Until that choice is made, Jonna will not be permitted to try out for the Melodic Greatness program. The chief then, at that point, tells the gathering to tidy up the result of the fire. Other understudies oblige, yet Luca trusts he's excessively great for this, and leaves. While they're cleaning, Seabass approaches Jonna with lunch and proposes that he would be able examine what is going on with his compelling guardians. Given their political power, he accepts they may have the option to influence things in support of herself. However, classification rejects, saying she'll deal with the circumstance herself. Later, Amelia takes note Andy rehearsing the drums and acclaims her ability, which makes Andy a piece apprehensive. Plainly, there's a shared squash framing between them. In the meantime, Jonna ends up being stressed over being ousted and moves toward Dixon, requesting his assistance. The two then, at that point, find that the harasser switched off the surveillance cameras that evening. Jonna claims that she saw one of the covered individuals harm their lower legs during the disturbance. So Jonna checks the hospital records. Also, tracks down Amelia's name, since Amelia is likewise an ex of Seabass. Jana turns out to be more dubious of her. Later, John approaches Amelia and praises her shoes. She then, at that point, attempts to take off the shoes strongly. However, she gets more insane, and in the end, Seabass needs to pull her away. Later, Dixon and she search for the fire film. Furthermore, notice that Seabass didn't leave his room. Dixon reasons that each and every individual who was not where they ought to have been that night is suspect, so John approaches Seabass. What's more, attempts to really take a look at his lower leg, yet Seabass is weirded out by this and is vexed that she has no faith in him. In the meantime, Luca's father attempts to captivate his child to study business by paying off him with vehicles and cash. Anyway, it doesn't work, since not entirely settled to seek after music. Irritated, his dad then, at that point, guarantees him that he will go to his tryout. The following day is tryout day, and Andy and Amelia tease a little before the show. In the meantime, Jonna becomes close to home about leaving and thinks of her name on the wall. While others follow her, she likewise makes one more endeavor to apologize to Luca for her previous activities. However, he overlooks her soon after Luca gives an astounding presentation. Yet, his dad unexpectedly leaves in the center of it. Luca then, at that point, becomes profound Furthermore, when he strolls outside in tears, a understudy named Gordo annoys him by recording him. Luca becomes infuriated, so he hits Gordo and grabs away his telephone. While attempting to erase the video, he sees that there is likewise a video of the covered man on the telephone and rapidly sends it to himself. In the interim, Jonah attempts to go to see Esteban's tryout. However, Saba stops her in the corridor and apologizes. He then, at that point, gives her a discourse about the amount she means to her, and he could never really hurt her. Regardless of his words, Jonah stays upset. What's more, leaves. In the interim, Esteban gives a delightful execution. However, he's frustrated by Jonah's non-appearance. Once outside, Jonah approaches Esteban, saying sorry for missing his presentation. However, he says it's fine. Then shockingly, Jonah kisses him and he kisses her back. Also later, Jonah discovers that she is ousted and begins pressing to leave, yet abruptly Luca approaches her and says he has come to help her. He uncovers the video of the covered individuals and together they approach the head to share the proof. Subsequently, Jonah's ejection is renounced and she has the opportunity to try out. A short time later, the head trusts in her associate, uncovering that the rite of passage was finished by a gathering called the hotel. The word gets out and an advance notice is posted in the practice room focused on Jonah's gathering, expressing that they are currently screwed. The next day, the gathering accumulates to talk about the hotel. Jonah uncovers that it's a mysterious society made by well-off understudies to menace grant understudies at use. They intend to pressure less favored understudies to stop keeping up with the elite's control. Luca shocks everybody by referencing that Jonah's mother was once essential for the stop, yet Jana contends that it was a large number. Many years prior, Joe